Welcome everybody to the MIDS Impact Design Standards and MIDS Calculator. This is Module 1, Overview of Calculator. If you'd like to see the other modules, you can go to this link here on the right. You can copy that address into your browser and click on it, and it will take you to all the other modules in this series. In this module, we're going to be covering a few things: where to find documentation about the MIDS calculator in the Minnesota Stormwater Manual. We'll talk very briefly about performance goals, show you how to download the calculator. We'll open up the calculator and take a very quick tour of the calculator. So the first thing we'll do is we'll go into the Stormwater Manual, and I assume most of you are familiar with the manual. This is the table of contents page here. And if you're in the table of contents page, you can scroll down to the section called Models, Calculations, Methodologies, Pollutant Removal, Credits. And you'll see the top link here is for Minimal Impact Design Standards. If you click on that, it'll take you to what we call a portal, which has several pages that deal with the Minimal Impact Design Standards. These first few links here will take you to pages that talk about MIDS, performance goals, the overview of MIDS, and so forth. Then there's a series of pages on the calculator itself, including links to the calculator, the user's guide, and some other documents that we'll cover in later modules. For now, we're going to go to this link called Training and Workshop Materials and Modules, and I'll show you that there are 3 PowerPoint files that you might be interested in if you'd like to learn more about the calculator and some of the performance goals and such that are behind the calculator. This first file called Calculator Intro and Exercises, MIDS Calculator Fundamentals, and this is June of 2017, so it's recently been updated. And then MIDS Performance Goals. So these 3 files here are all PowerPoint files, and they have some basic information about the calculator. I'll just click on this one here called Calculator Fundamentals, which I said, as I mentioned, was just recently updated. And it should open a PowerPoint file, which it did. And if you just go down here, I'm not going to go through this PowerPoint, excuse me, but just indicate that MIDS calculator, the primary function of it is to evaluate site conformance to the MIDS performance goals. MIDS performance goals can vary. The standard one, the default one in the calculator, as you see in a bit, is to retain 1.1 inches off of impervious surfaces. There are other performance goals that you can put into the calculator. There are also, in addition to these MIDS performance goals, there are other goals, such as 1 inch if you are trying to comply with a construction stormwater permit, for example. You'll want to have a 1 inch performance goal, and I'll show you here now where you would put that information into the calculator. Let me go back to the manual for a second here and show you where you can download the calculator. I'll go back to the table of contents and back to that MIDS portal page. And there's a number of ways you can download the calculator. A quick link off here on the right. This may not be here indefinitely because it's just announcing that we've released version 3, which is actually released in January of 2017. But we recommend that you go to this page here to begin with it if this is your first time in the calculator. That will have a link to the calculator, but there's also some other information here that you should probably read, including some updates to the calculator and then some information about the calculator itself. And we recommend, if you've not done, this is your first time in here, to read these materials. Download the calculator, you can click on this link here. It will take you to an FTP site. The 2 files that you'll want to download are this MSI file and this executable file. And this is for version 3 of the calculator. You can get at both files through this link here, but you need those 2 files to download the calculator. Once your calculator is on your machine, it should show up as an icon on your desktop. If not, you may have to go into your root directory and copy a link to it onto your main page here. But here is the icon for the MIDS calculator. You just double click on that and it will open up, and you'll have under two buttons here at the top, File and Help. We'll go through both of those. So under File, if you're to click on it and you're not in an active file, the options that you have are to create a new file, to open an existing file, or if you have a version 2 file, you can import version 2 into version 3, and it will create a new file in version 3 for you. We're going to start by creating a new file, and this doesn't matter where we put it, but we'll just call it Module 1. We'll just call it Module 1, and we'll save it. And so that's our file now. You have to wait just a bit. Sometimes it takes a little longer if you're loading an existing file. And so this is the opening screen that you'll see in the calculator. We'll go through these in greater detail as we go through later modules. But there's 3 tabs at the top. Site Information tab. This is where you put your site information. That'll be Module 2. We'll cover that. The Schematic tab. And then a Results tab. To get to the Schematic tab, there are 3 defaults. The 3 inputs. The reason you need to do that is you'll see that the rainfall will then fill, the rainfall information will fill because it's associated with that zip code. And you have to enter some sort of impervious surface. And I'm just going to put in 1 acre for now, just so that we can get to the Schematic tab. You'll notice that when I put this 1 acre of impervious in, information will fill into this left box here related to your performance goal. It's the Schematic box is where you're going to drop your icons and work with your icons, and those will be later modules as we deal with each of these icons in separate modules. And then once you've done your calculations, you'll go to the Results tab, where it will show your results. Again, just briefly to go back to the site information, your performance goal is here. We'll cover that in greater detail in Module 2. If we go back to the top here, you see there's 2 help options under the Help button. First will take you to the User's Guide, and the second will take you to the MIDS Overview. Both of these are documents or pages in the Minnesota Stormwater Manual. I'll just click on one of them, for example. And this is a User's Guide for the calculator. So that's how you get around, and we're going to get into greater detail in subsequent modules here. And so just a brief overview of this. I can find the right button. Okay. What we covered in this module is, this will end Module 1. This is just, like I said, a brief overview. We'll get into greater detail. If you want to look at those other modules, you can go to this link right here. And that ends this module. Thank you.